are in the middle of a pandemic that has collided with a failure in leadership. In the U.S., coronavirus is also a man-made disaster, the likes of which might be hard to truly comprehend if you don't work in a hospital, a morgue, or a nursing home, or if you haven't personally been touched by the tragedy of losing a loved one. But make no mistake, we will all likely be touched by that tragedy, because the pandemic is young yet. Experts tell us that coronavirus is just getting started with us. And as other nations are putting up a good fight and seeing results, the U.S. is flailing. The U.S. is a cautionary tale. The federal response here is faltering as the death toll surpasses 140,000 Americans. 140,000 people. That is enough to fill the Rose Bowl 1.5 times. And the president is still denying reality and ignoring the magnitude of the outbreak. And in his Fox News interview this week, it is clear that denial has crossed the threshold to negligence. He can't even be honest about how deadly the virus is here.
When you talk about mortality rates, I think it's the opposite. I think we have one of the lowest mortality rates in the world.
You can check it out.
Could you please get me the mortality rate?
Yeah.
Kaylee's right here. I heard we have one of the lowest, maybe the lowest mortality rate anywhere in the world.
Now, as Chris Wallace noted, it is not. Of the 20 hardest hit countries today, the U.S. is 10th in mortality rate. Bolivia, Colombia, the Philippines, Chile, India, Pakistan, Argentina, all among those doing better than the U.S. But go on.
You have the numbers, please? Number one low mortality rate.
Okay, he's even lying about the lie there, because the chart that he decided to use from the European CDC, not his own, still doesn't show the U.S. with the lowest mortality rate.
You look at other countries, they don't even do tests. They don't go around and have massive areas of testing, and we do.
False. Of course other countries test. The difference? Many of the successful ones have a cohesive national strategy. They test, then trace, and their citizens wear masks.
Why on earth would your administration be involved in a campaign at this point to discredit Dr. Fauci, who is the nation's top infectious disease expert?
Because we're not. He's a little bit of an alarmist.
So Trump denies that his administration is attacking Anthony Fauci before he goes right on ahead there and undermines Anthony Fauci. The attacks are real, and they're right out there. They are verifiable. The top trade advisor wrote an op-ed. The social media director pushed a cartoon out on social media, and the White House anonymously pushed out a list of opposition research on Dr. Fauci.
Many of those cases are young people that would heal in a day. They have the sniffles.
All right, I've interviewed young people who survived weeks on a ventilator. I've interviewed young people who are still battling symptoms months later. They're the so-called long haulers. And next hour right here, we're going to be talking with a mother who lost her 20-year-old son and 23-year-old daughter in a span of 11 days. So give us a break. This isn't just the sniffles. And then this interview moved on to other topics like the military.
We got soldiers, the biggest pay raises in the history of our military.
No, he actually did not. While a pay raise is always welcome, the military got bigger ones in 2008, 2009, and 2010. Next.
We won 2 world wars, beautiful world wars that were vicious and horrible.
Vicious and horrible, yes. Beautiful, no. War is hell, and he knew that well enough to get 5 draft deferments and make sure that he never saw war. Millions and millions of people were killed in those world wars. Then Trump responded here to the Pentagon possibly considering changing the names of bases named after Confederate generals.
The military says they're for this.
Excuse me. I don't care what the military says. I'm supposed to make the decision.
Now, the military trying to do its part to ensure a cohesive environment for servicemen and women, blocked by the commander-in-chief, who is hailing American traitors. And then he said this.
Can you give a direct answer? You will accept the election?
I have to see. Look, I have to see.
That is a president there undermining the institution of American democracy. Next, President Trump talked about Joe Biden.
It says nothing about defunding the police.
Oh, really? It says abolish. It says defund. Let's go.
All right.
Get me the charter, please.
All right.
Okay, it didn't say abolish. It did not say abolish. It does not say defund. Next.
Religion will be gone, okay? Life, you could forget about that, the whole question of life. Supreme Court.
When you say life, you mean abortion?
Absolutely.
You say religion is going to be gone. What does that mean?
Look at what they're doing to the churches. They won't let the churches even open if they want to stand in a field 6 feet apart.
All right, so who is they? Well, at the state level, there are officials from both parties who are putting limits on large gatherings, not to ban religion, but to save lives. But go on.
We've had churches that wanted to stand in fields 6 feet apart. There has never been an administration that's done so much as I have, from tax cuts to regulation cuts to rebuilding the military to getting choice for the vets. Nobody's done the things I've done.
Actually, they have, because it was President Obama, actually, who signed the Veterans Choice Program into law in 2014, not President Trump. That was nearly 3 years before President Trump moved into the Oval Office.
I think mail-in voting is going to rig the election. I really do.
All right, that's just false. There is zero evidence of widespread fraud. Studies also show mail-in voting has not benefited one party over the other. Also, the president, along with many of his advisors, have voted by mail for years. Then, as the president tries to make mental acuity an issue in this election, he brags about the cognitive tests that he took.
The first few questions are easy, but I'll bet you couldn't even answer the last 5 questions. I'll bet you couldn't. They get very hard.
Okay, so the last questions on that test: what day is it, and what city are you in?
You answer the
question. Let
questions.
Biden sit through an interview like this. He'll be on the ground crying for mommy. He'll say, "Mommy, mommy, please take me home."
All right, we'll just leave it there.